Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome a very, very senior professional from Russia, Mr. Dmitry V Zavodovskiy. Dmitry, welcome to the show. Dmitry is an experienced troubleshooter. He's a positive company culture creator. He's an ex-plant manager of GE Russia. He's the ex-CEO of two international joint venture companies in Russia. So Dmitry, today we're going to talk about culture and how to create positive culture. So let's start by asking you a question. How do we turn company culture to make it more productive?
So first of all, we should discuss what culture is and why we need, let's say, to change culture and to turn it to the more productive way.
Yeah.
Because for the most of companies, there is no sense, let's say, to change culture because most of the companies are stable and culture is stable. So it's not no needs, let's say, to turn it or to change it because it's culture is at state for the company, like statement, nothing else.
Right.
But if you need, let's say, to change company vision, or if you need, let's say, to extremely change company way, if you need any changes in company, culture could help you or could be against any changes. And usually culture is against. It's why? Because, as I said, the company culture is a statement. And if you try, let's say, to change it, if you try, let's say, to turn company into any way, so culture is culture is always trying to go back to that statement because it's for culture is better.
Very interesting.
Let's say
Very interesting. So Dmitry, you know, when you talk of culture, large and old and established companies have developed their culture over a long period of time.
Yes.
How does a young company or a startup entrepreneur develop a strong culture?
So usually culture created by owners of the company. You know, Mr. Jobs created culture of Apple company. And there is a hidden stone in that way for all the startups, because if you as owner or as leader of the company think nothing about culture, if you think nothing about culture, if you do nothing about culture, culture in any case will be created, but by someone else, by hidden leader, by another leader, by anyone else in your company. And that culture could be against you, or at least, let's say, zero for you. If you want, let's say, to change culture, if you should be leader, you should have vision, you should translate your vision, and that culture should help you to go to that, let's say, vision, to your goals. If you want to change company, if you want, let's say, to speed up process, if you want to have additional market share or any other changes, you should be the culture leader also. And you should change it. And it's possible, let's say, it's possible to measure if it's help you or not. Culture as is couldn't be measured, but you can measure if culture helps you in your way or culture is against you. So you should ask questions. You can find that kind of questionnaires in internet. Question is like, so do you trust your leader? Do you trust your boss or something like this? Answers and from 0 to 10, just for example, so marks. And answers are, you can't use that answers, but if you change it, if you in period of change, if you measure 1 point and if you have the same questions in half a year, just for example, you can check, because if let's say median was 5.5, just for example, and in half a year it's a 6, that means that let's say people trust you in change management process. culture is helping you.
Okay.
But if it's negative trend,
Mm.
that means that culture is against changes. And you should do something, because of course, if you are like neutron Jack, if you are Jack Welch, you can let's say push all the changes. You can go through the changes alone or with this team. But if it's not, so changes will be.
So when we started our discussion, we were discussing on how you can use company culture to improve or increase productivity.
Of course, you can do it, because, so just for example, if company culture is on your way, if you turn it a little bit, it's not possible, let's say, to turn company culture in 1 day or in 1 month, but it's possible, let's say, to have people on your side. Just for example, suggestions from your employees. In General Electric, suggestions are an important part of company culture. And it's possible also to measure how many suggestions you have from your employees, just for example, a year. And if people are trying, let's say, to suggest something, if people are helping you to change, if people are open, let's say, to say you something, that means culture is on productive way.
Right.
One more example. So is the time with the feedback time, because if someone suggests something, you should answer very quickly. If you agree or if you not agree. So because in 1 month it's too late to answer. You should say people. So okay, your suggestion is very good, and we will. But just for example, but it's very expensive, and we are thinking, let's say, to put it into the next year program.
Very interesting. And what are the steps to change a company's mindset?
Steps. So first of all, you should let's say you should put in paper what do you think, what is current mindset. It's first. Second, you should put let's say needed mindset. What do you think it should be? And in the middle will be the way. Steps are, first of all, to understand company culture, to find hidden leaders, because hidden leaders could be on your side or against you, and it's better. So the key mistake is, let's say, to fire hidden leaders, because if you have hidden leaders in any way, if you fire him or her, someone will be in that place, because culture needs hidden leaders. So please find them and ask them to work for you.
Okay. And when you look at a company, what is the role of the company and the leader in the vision?
In the vision, leader should be visionary. Leader should create vision, and should, it doesn't matter, move, push, pull company, or let's say, or any other verbs, but should be the company should go to the vision. And one more is also mistake if company achieve vision or achieve any goal, and company has nothing, no new vision, no new goal, company culture will be crushed, because you are moving company. And so it should be vision by vision, goal by goal, change by change. It's not possible to stop.
Very interesting. And can you give me an example of where you have been associated, say, in changing company culture?
Of course. So when I was plant leader in GE in Russia, so it was when I stepped in, it was quite a bad company culture. Why? Because it was a lot of health and safety problem. It was some cases and also health and safety cases, environmental, not cases, but problem, let's say, to be fixed. And but in 3 years after that, we became the best health and safety plant in GE. So 3 years, it's exact period when you can change company culture. It's not possible, as I said already, in 1 month. But it was very interesting process, let's say, to involve people one by one, and because it's not possible to use same tools or same steps for any people. You should find, let's say, way to all of your people, let's say, to invite them in that process.
Interesting.
It's very interesting.
Very interesting. So one of the other things I wanted to ask you was, how does one measure company culture?
Measure. So company culture is a state. And it's possible to measure when a company culture is changing with your company. Because when you can measure, are the people suggestions are on the same level or increasing? If it's increasing, people like change you propose. People like your vision. And also, I said, if there are some questionnaires, if the, let's say, medium point of that questionnaire is increasing in half an year, just for example, people trust you, trusting you, and people are with you in that process.
Okay. And my next question, Dmitry, is that, the pandemic has impacted everybody in the world. And I'm sure Russia has also been impacted. My question to you is, how has the pandemic impacted culture in different businesses in Russia?
Oh, it's a big impact, in fact, and it's all around the world. I discussed with all my friends in Europe and US. And
yes,
first of all, there are some lost connections because of pandemic, and lost connections inside company because people are not speaking, let's say, as much as it was before, and let's say near the coffee machine or something like this. That is why mind exchanging or ideas exchanging is less than before. It's a negative impact, and it's quite negative impact because I already mentioned suggestions, because if someone suggests something and people that are staying near that person can, let's say, improve that suggestion, or let's say, put something in, just, let's say, to think. It's common thinking, and now we are losing that tool, common thinking. And but at the same time, it's very interesting time because pandemic is helping, let's say, company culture. First of all, it's so, as I said, hidden leaders are not, let's say, so active because of pandemic, and it is helping real leaders, let's say, to go to make changes. And also, it's very interesting, let's say, time for internet companies, and for other companies. It's very interesting time for any startups. Because a lot of companies are going inside the internet, and it's also very interesting. It's also very good and very impactful because meetings are shorter, and so rules are, let's say, clear, more clear than before. So that is why it's shorter, let's say, to make right decisions, short time.
Very interesting. But when, because of the pandemic, a lot of us have been working from home.
Yes.
Working from home means we cannot meet our colleagues at work. So how is working from home impacting company culture?
So it's also impacted. The impact is also quite high. As I said, that we do not meet each other, and that is why some problems or some, let's say, tasks are not done properly. But at the same time, it's time for new ways to fix problems and to do, and it's time for internet, as I said. So there are new, not forms, but new, let's say, platforms when you can exchange your ideas and put something, and companies like General Electric are using that time really much, let's say.
Okay. So, Dmitry, we have time for 2 more questions. My next question is that, you have led large businesses. What are some of the important qualities a CEO should have?
So first of all, it's not communication. It's because communication is a best way. But leader should, let's say, train one-way communication to hear, not only to say.
Okay.
To say, everyone can say, but leader should hear people, should hear subordinates. And usually I'm using, let's say, face-to-face meeting with all my first-line subordinates. It's every 2 weeks I met him or her, and it's not time for me. It's time for my subordinate to hear, to help. So if something is wrong, why you did like this, and how do you think about, let's say, next time you will have same problem? What are you thinking? How you feel you will do it next time?
Right. Very interesting. And my last question to you, Dmitry, what would you say is your leadership style?
So I worked in different companies, and I started in a very big and strong Russian company. So I know what is, let's say, hard management style. I can use it very good, let's say, in very productive way. And that is why I dislike such kind of style.
So, Dmitry, on that note, thank you very much. It's been such a privilege speaking to you. Thank you for talking to me at such length about culture. And
thank you very much.
Good luck with whatever you're going to be doing now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.